Well, this is
3.
exciting.
It is exciting.
3
Okay,
is the
let's see.
magic number. I always say that to Drew. 3 is the magic number. Father, Son, and Holy Ghost, or Trinity, as it were. And that's what you and me and Jen are, I believe.
That's right. I agree.
Yeah, I
And
do everything in 3s.
That's the way to do it. That's the way to do it. So let's actually start by talking about how there is a third member to our Trinity, to our trifecta. So we talked about in our first episode how we met, and we referenced Jen in that. And
Jen and Maddie.
Yeah, Jen and Matt in that. And Jen and you and me are this trifecta of besties. And just how special that was and how instant that connection was. And so as we are in our At First Sight series, we are able to explore a little bit more. So we talked about our friendship at first sight. We've talked about love at first sight. And now in the third episode of the series, we're talking about friends at first sight. So do you want to talk a little bit about, what did you think of Jen? And, when she walked out with Matt, what was that feeling like? She didn't flash her boobs, so she would have. But...
You know what? It's really funny because I was so nervous. I was so nervous, as I said to you before, as when I arrived, because I was the third person of this whole group to arrive. You two were first, then it was me because obviously Drew's flight was delayed, missed a connection or whatever it was. But when I had read that text from you, and then I finally had met you, and then we were waiting for Matt and Jen, I actually felt so much more at ease because I was like, listen, how could she even be awful with this angel? Like, really?
Halo.
Yes, I can see that halo, and I can see your wings, girl. I just thought, no, there's unless I've got this completely wrong, and this girl is the greatest unknown actress in the world, or I am completely blindsided, then Jen has to be equally as fabulous, on every level. And she really was. And the first thing she did when she saw me was, she was like, give me a hug. Like, it was so serendipitous. It was so organic. It felt so real and natural. And it's literally what I prayed for my whole entire life. I prayed for siblings to be like this with me. I prayed for women and friends to be like this with me. And all of my freaking dreams were coming true right there in that moment in Margaritaville at the airport.
That's right.
But then there was that moment, I think maybe it wasn't that night. I think it was the next day because everyone had been drinking. And so that next morning, she was super quiet. And of course, I made it about me and was like, it must have been me that has made her feel bad. Like, of course, it's always me that's the problem. It's always me that people don't like. It's so weird that my head went there directly after the amazing meeting that we'd had that didn't even feel like a meeting. It felt like it was just, here we are again. You know what I mean? It just, a time had gone past. That's all. And then the amazing evening that we had that was just so much fun, like probably one of the funnest nights of my life.
Yeah.
And then the next day, she just was super quiet. And I was like, oh no. And then I remember saying to you, did I do something wrong? Was I inappropriate? And you were like, no. And then I was just like, oh my God, thank God. Thank you, God. So now, and I guess that's a way how you learn people. I've never had this experience of spending much time with women and really knowing, people in general, because I've never really been given that chance.
Yeah.
But I think it's really important that when you do have that experience, and maybe you shared it with someone, like the only person I could have shared it with was you because you're her best friend. But also I could have said something to Drew, which I maybe did, said she's a little bit quiet today. And he may have even said to me, she's probably struggling a little bit. But again, I didn't believe him, I think. I just thought it has to be me. I have to have done something wrong. But yeah, that wasn't the case. And now I know, when we go on our next holidays, which is probably going to be, we're probably going to make this a thing. I think this is going to be a thing now.
It needs to be.
I know it's been a thing for you guys, but if we can join as the third wheel or the trifecta Trinity partnership, that would be amazing, because I know Drew and I just had so much fun with you guys. But I know more. I know how to read a room, mostly know how to read a room and people. I was just confused because she's your best friend, and I was just so new to the dynamic. But it was, Jen is just so different, yet so like us, and you two are so different but so similar. And I can see how you've had such a long friendship, and I think one of the reasons it's been so long is because you're so honest with each other. And I that, like, honesty for me is the most important thing. If you don't have honesty amongst your peers and the people that you love and nurture and want to be around and spend most of your time with, then what are you doing? Like, really? Like, what is that relationship?
So I'll tell you the story about Jen. It's an ongoing humorous thing. So after a night of imbibing and maybe having a little fun, she is one person who has the worst hangovers I've ever seen out of anybody ever.
Oh, God.
And so she actually, in college, and I'll talk about our college relationship in a minute, but in college and still to this day, she pulls a chair into the shower and she sits in this chair. It's called the hangover chair. And just this hot water just pours over her. I mean, sometimes until the water runs out, because she just needs, like, she doesn't want to see you. She doesn't want to talk to you, not you, but me, anybody, because she just needs to get past that point. And then she's great. As soon as she's done with that, she is in. She's great, ready to go.
That's so funny.
It is, but I also have 25 years of knowledge of this.
Yeah.
And so for me, it's like, I know exactly what's happening. But as a new person coming into a friendship, you're like, God, what did I say? Did I do something wrong?
Yeah.
Absolutely not. And I would imagine probably within a half an hour of us having that whispered conversation of, nope, she's fine, don't worry. She was probably like, all right, game on, let's go.
Yeah. She kind of was. Yeah. And I even said to her, I said, oh, you're okay, right? And she's like, yeah, I'm just, not feeling so great. So that was after I'd spoken to you. So you gave me the confidence to say to her, you feeling okay? And she's like, yeah, not really, but so that was cool. But to me, that's a relationship of trust, maturity, and honesty.
Yeah.
And that's what I've thrived and begged for, pleaded, prayed for, to have those relationships, because those are the relationships that help you grow as a human, because you're not guessing all the time. You're not in this constant state of panic or flight. What is it? Fight or flight mode.
Flight.
Whether you've done something wrong.
Yeah.
You're not going to get in trouble for being honest.
Yeah. When I was in college, but it didn't start that way with Jen and me. We had 2 years of college where we went to school at Monmouth College, what college was meant to be, in central Illinois, and 2 years where we peripherally knew each other. And to be honest, I thought she was a bitch. I was not a fan because I don't know what it was. She has RBF, so we just talked about that a few minutes ago before we even started this, resting bitch face.
Yeah, and I didn't know what that meant until I asked you.
Yeah. So I just didn't think she was a nice person. I didn't know her, but that was kind of what my assumption was. And, we didn't really run in the same circles very much, so it didn't really matter to me. And then my junior year, her senior year, we were put into a quad, and she was in my quad, and I was like, oh my gosh, like, I don't even know if I knew she was going to be in it. I think she walked up, and I was like, oh my gosh, like, this girl. And, we're unpacking, and I was looking for like nail polish or something, and I wanted to like paint my toes or something like that. And I didn't have what I was looking for. And she's like, "Oh, I've got some nail polish." And, she just walked right over to me and was like, "Here." And I was like, that was really nice.
Yeah.
And just kind of funny. And just in that moment, she kind of sat down and was talking with me. And I was like, this like electricity vibe of like,
oh my God.
It wasn't at first sight technically, because we had 2 years of kind of being in the same area. But as soon as we were put together, it was like magic. And it was just crazy. And so from that point on, I mean, we did some silly things. We went and got tattoos together. Like, we did all sorts of crazy stuff.
You did all the things that I believed were the things that happened in the movies only.
Yeah. Yeah. And it's real life. And, she has been by my side through everything. And, we've grown up in our marriages together. We've both been married for 20 years. And we've been mothers together and figuring it out for the first time together.
Made me cry.
And it really is amazing. And to have had that at, I think I was 19, maybe as a junior. I was young for my grade. So from 19 to have that, and to be, older now and still have her in my life, like, that's incredible. And you don't hear a lot of stories like that.
You just don't. That's just
especially with women.
Wonderful. Yeah, I totally agree.
Especially with women.
I find it very common with guys, for sure. But women, no, I've never known it. I've never experienced it myself. But to witness your friendship with Jen is it's just so remarkable, so awe-inspiring. And it's what I hope that in 20 years, all three of us are still going away with our soon to be hubby, hopefully, and your hubbies would just be incredible.
Yeah.
It would be incredible.
By the way, we have, aside from maybe the very first year I graduated from college, we have never lived in the same state. I have been in Colorado. She has been in Illinois for 20 of the 20, actually longer. I'd say 22 of the 25 years. We have not lived in the same state. So it's not like I get to see her or, hey, let's go get a happy hour. Oh my gosh, let's do brunch. Like, no, we don't get to do that. So when we do talk or see each other, we pick up right where we left off, as if we just had brunch the other day.
That's amazing. That's amazing. That's incredible. That's really incredible.
And so, like, with this podcast, so she's in, she's got a full-time job, and, she's not going to be a co-host of this podcast, but she is going to be involved. Do you know, we did not do wet t-shirt, but Jen and I Jell-O wrestled in college. That's a true story.
And Tom told me.
Yeah.
Oh God, this is so funny. Oh my gosh. But remember when we were talking about wet t-shirt, like doing a wet t-shirt competition, and Drew, as Drew would do, it says small, medium and large.
Yeah.
I'm small.
So guess what Jen is?
Jen is beautiful. She has the biggest beautiful eyes in the whole world.
Her eyes.
Her eyes are beautiful. Yes.
There's so many other friendships that we both have. There's so many celebrity friendships that are, you'd say, kind of at first sight. Now, we've talked about you, me, Jen, obviously, our little love fest over our Holy Trinity. I wouldn't call it a Holy Trinity, maybe our trifecta. The Trinity, the trifecta. Are there other people that you have had that instant connection with? It doesn't have to be female friends. It can be male friends, too.
I do want to mention Sandy, I have two Sandys in my life. I have a Sandy boy and I have a Sandy girl. Okay. The Sandy girl, we're going to have on one of our episodes. She's a incredible ground angel doing incredible work. She's a functional medicine doctor and nutritionist. She was someone that, we were introduced actually by my best friend, who was her best friend. And it was instant. It was instantly, it was scary, actually. I was like, wait, do I know you? Like, we was talking like that. And she was like, I mean, I feel like I do. And it's just, it was the most profound meeting. And I don't think, I'm actually now questioning myself. I wonder if the other person's nose got a little bit out of joint, but I don't think they did. I think I think it was just purely our understanding.
The person who introduced you maybe felt like, wait a second, I was here first.
Yes.
Oh, I see.
But that's only just come up now as we're talking. For the first time in my whole knowing them, it's the first time I've ever thought that. So it might not be, it might just be me being tired and I'm thinking the worst, but it never felt that way to me at all. Alina is one of my dear girlfriends who was an instant girl too. But even though it was instant that first day that we met, it still took us a little while to get together because, she's a full-time mum, 3 children, and she doesn't trust many women. And when she realized that her kids fell in love with me when they met me, and that I was a safe place, and maybe I was being genuine and said, if you need anything, you need any help, you need to talk to someone, you need someone to pick up the kids because you're on your way back from an appointment, or I'll do it. I think she was like, oh, people like this do exist. And it's all I've ever wanted to do is be a good friend to people. That's really all I've ever wanted to do, is be a good mum and a good friend. That's it. And I didn't understand why that was so hard. But anyhow, Alina and I, we met through one of my best friends, John. And we just instantly clicked. She has the most incredibly beautiful family. She's from Honduras, and her husband Luke is best friends with my friend John. They have 3 beautiful children, and I knew that I wouldn't see her for a little while, so I called her and I said, look, can you come to this yoga class with me? It's not crazy, it's hot yoga, blah, blah, blah. We did all the things, and she's like, yeah, I want to come because I just want to be in your energy. I just want to hold you and hug you, and because everything will always be fine when I do that. And then, we didn't have much time after class. Normally we'd go for a big walk or whatever with the dogs, but we didn't have much time. But we had time to like sit and chat, and she just wanted to buy me a smoothie and buy me a coffee and just sit with me. And that is just, that 45 minutes, whatever it was, felt like a whole day I spent with her. And it's like, when the defibrillator restarts your heart, it's like, good junk. I feel like that's how this whole day has gone, because I was in full joy when I visually saw you and Sandy talking. And then to spend time with Alina, it's just like, I said to Drew, I said, I don't know what's happening. I don't even want to try and understand what's happening. But it just feels so good to have these incredible relationships and celebrate incredible relationships and talk about how you can become the best version of yourself within a relationship, whether it's an intimate one, whether it's a girlfriend relationship, whether it's a relationship with your child. You can just be the best version of yourself if you're just honest and say, show me how you need to be treated. Show me how you need to be loved. Tell me what you need. Yeah. And I'll try and match that. And it's been really profound having that relationship, not just with Drew, but to have that with you and with Jen and Alina and it's just, and Sandy. I mean, you girls have literally kept me alive.
Yeah, I was doing a little bit of research as we were kind of preparing for this particular episode, because I was just thinking, like, why? Why is it that you can have that instant connection with somebody but not with somebody else? And I was looking at this, and there's this concept called thin slicing. So Malcolm Gladwell, thin slicing.
Like thin?
It's thin. Yep.
Yeah.
So okay. Malcolm Gladwell is a famous psychologist. He also has a ton of books. We've got a ton of his books here in my own home.
Can we get him
also,
on?
I would love to.
Okay.
I just sat and listened to him. I was invited to listen to him speak. I was on a plane, so maybe in November. And he's just brilliant, but he's able to break his brilliance down so that people like me can understand it.
Right.
And he has this concept called thin slicing, and it basically explains that our brains assess compatibility with new people in seconds. So
like
we
the gut
mirror,
instinct.
yeah, it is truly like a gut instinct, and you just know it. You just know it.
Wow.
And so what happens is we mirror neurons, and so that allows us to subconsciously pick up body language and also emotional cues so that you have an instant sense of familiarity. So it's like, it's science, but it's also your brain that, and your gut and all of these things that kind of come together to be like, this is your person. I chose this person for you. Pick up on it, please. And you have seconds to be able to be like, yes or no. It's just wild.
That is wild.
It is. And so we are also, like, when you share vulnerability, so if you're meeting someone for the first time, like you were talking about with Sandy, and you go through an experience together, like that vulnerability and that shared experience helps drive that forward. But sometimes you just match other people's energy, and you can sit back and you can, okay, we're just going to relax together, or sit in silence and just enjoy each other's company. And then of course you always are drawn to people who are like you. I have found that in most of my friendships, the ones of people that I'm closest to, we are not exactly alike at all. And so I think that my personal thin slicing is for somebody who can complement who I am. So I'm like, thank you, brain and gut, for that. So I think a lot of people do seek out somebody who's just like them. And I think, this is my opinion, not science, but a lot of times I think you can find that with some insecurity. So they're like, okay, I'm not happy with myself. I want someone who's going to also not be happy with themselves so that we can have that shared experience together or something like that. Or
I agree.
Just
I think
interesting.
What you're putting into your body, what you're consuming, and they do say that the gut and the stomach is the first brain. What you're doing, how you're feeding that directly affects your brain and the way that you respond in the world. And if you're healthy and well-minded, spiritually and mentally, then you're going to attract the same type of people.
Yeah.
I mean, I'm not friends with some people now, not because I don't want to be, but because they've removed themselves actually out of my life, because I think in some way, shape or form, they know that they've got work to do. And that sounds very like blowing smoke up my own ass. It's really not, because
I've had those experiences too.
They know that I am willing, happy to sit with you and hold your hand and hug you whilst you cry your eyes out, but they just don't feel like they can do that because they feel like they're a burden on me, or you know what I mean? Like, I've had two people remove themselves from my life recently, and it's super painful because I know that this person wants to be in my life, and I know that they can be. It's just that they feel so ashamed of the time that they spend wasting being angry. You know what I mean?
Yeah.
So they've quite dignified in a way. They've removed themselves. They'll come back. They always do.
They will.
They always
when they're ready, and whatever it is they're going through, for sure.
But it's painful. It's painful.
It can be. Yeah. Yeah. I mean, I feel like, I think most people maybe have some of, maybe not exactly examples like what you just shared, but I've had friends, okay, we didn't tell you this one thing because we just think that you have a high moral standard and you wouldn't like me if I told you that, this happened or that happened. Or we've had friends just in our lives who have kind of pulled away from being like couple friends because my relationship with Tom is very strong. And we do genuinely love each other after almost 24 years of being together.
Yeah.
And we have fun and we want to be with each other. And when we have found that friends are struggling in their marriages, they pull back.
Sure.
But they will come around again. And it's not that we did anything wrong, but it's that they're struggling themselves, and being around somebody strong highlights their struggle. And that can be a challenge. And I think that happens with friends too.
Also, they might feel like they'll bring you down as well, because I know that I've had that with some people, that they've removed themselves from my life because they're scared they're going to bring me down and make me sick, because they know how sensitive I am as a person. And they're right. And actually, thank you for removing yourself in that time frame, because you knew you had to do something and work on yourself, you know, because I will always accept you back. It might not be in the same way, but my door will always be open, and I will always have 12 minutes for anybody. I posted about it the other day. I always have 12 minutes.
Yep.
There was a scientific research paper had been done on how long it takes to make someone feel better in their energy and just make them feel seen and heard. And it was 12 minutes. And I've been telling people, I've always got 12 minutes for you. Always.
That's amazing. And I feel like if people know that, and, you know, 99 times 99 people may not take you up on that, but the one person who does, you change their life. You change things around for them. And that's what really being a true friend is. And, you know, the psychology of being a true friend is being available, being present, you know, those different things. But also you almost kind of need to see people through different stages and different, you know, people need to be able to share their vulnerability with you. And, you know, today you could be having a good day. A month from now, you could be going through something, and that's what the friend needs to be there for.
Yeah.
And it sounds like such a simple concept. Like, well, of course, we knew that. But in practice and reality, it's not as easy.
Yeah. And I don't think most people don't. They might say they do that, but they don't actually practice what they preach. You know,
definitely.
It's tough.
It is. Well, have you broken up with friends?
I haven't per se, but I've definitely removed myself.
Yeah.
Because as I said, I will always give someone the benefit of the doubt, and I will always, it's like what Sandy said, and Sandy's said this multiple times. I will always give someone a second chance. And I will too. You know why? Because I was never even given a first chance.
Yeah.
You know?
Yeah.
And often I'll give them third, fourth, and fifth chances. But then when it starts to physically destroy me and hurt my body and hurt my heart, which it has done on multiple occasions, I'm sorry. Sorry.
There's no sorries.
I just have to look after myself now. And I have to be my own best friend. You know?
First. Yeah.
First.
Yeah, it's just like they say in the airplanes, you put on your oxygen mask before assisting others.
You know, last year, 2024, was probably one of the most challenging and painful years of my life. And then it ended up being the most beautiful. You know, it was the most difficult up until the day I met Drew. It took me until November 17th to start having hope again.
Yeah. I heard a quote today, and I'm not going to get it right, but I'll paraphrase it, that sometimes the most beautiful things are disguised by disaster. And so, you know, what things that seem disastrous really end up being some of the most beautiful things that you can go through. So
I have to believe that, because out of all of this struggles this year, it was so dark, it was so heavy, but it was so transformative.
Yeah.
just for me as a human being, it was so transformed. My body changed again. My energy changed again. Yes, I've been, working through and living through an illness, but I'm not suffering from it or struggling from it unless I'm not doing the work on myself and loving myself first. Mm-hmm. And I think the reason I was struggling so much last year with my health was because I wasn't nurturing myself. I was putting other people first and foremost all the time that were giving me nothing back in return. And and for me, it's not about tit for tat. It's not about a transactional relationship. I don't want that. It's not about that. It's just about meet me halfway. Just tell me the truth. Don't lie to me, because I already know. That's the thing. I already know, because I'm very intuitive, and I see things and I hear things and I visualize things, and I have this ability to see things in prayer and meditation, and I often go into it to get my answers. And I'd already seen it play out. Every single thing last year play out. The only thing I didn't see was what I had been told all year, was that something is coming, and it's coming in November. Mm-hmm. Around my dad's birthday. No, it wasn't my dad's birthday. It wasn't the 8th of November.
Wasn't it better that it was a surprise?
I think so. I mean, it was. It was better than a surprise. And my dad kept saying to me, it's going to be around my birthday, and you're welcome. Happy birthday. And then, I'm celebrating my dad's birthday pretty much on my own in Jamaica. And I'm like, I'm so confused, Dad, because you said it was going to be your birthday. And it wasn't. In fact, it was horrible. But then the day I met Drew was the 17th of November. And if you add up 1 and 7, it makes 8, which is my dad's birthday, the 8th of November. So I was just like, okay, I get it now.
Yeah. It's all coming together.
I get it now. Okay.
Yeah.
So, I just have to keep believing. I have to keep believing. I have to keep believing that the people that come in and out of our lives, and I hate it when people say that, is that either for a lesson or a session or whatever the thing is, or for life or whatever it is they say. I don't want any more lessons with people. I just don't.
I know. Just give it a break for a minute.
Can I just have a time where I'm just hugging everyone and everyone's loving on each other, and we just all just freaking love each other, and we're supporting each other. And I feel like that's what we're doing right now.
Yes.
You're getting what you need. I'm getting what I need. And the kids will get what they need, and our partners will get what they need. And, Drew said to me tonight, he goes, so you're going to go podcast with Michelle? And I was like, yeah.
Yes, we are.
Say hi to Elle for me. And I was like, I will. And then he just said to me, I'm just so proud of you. And I just thought, no one said that to me before except for my dad. So that's nice.
A good partner. Yeah.
And I know that Tom's proud of you. I mean, just when we were hanging out, at the football match, the game that they took me to, my first ever proper American football game. Yeah. And when he just said to me, go Bears.
Go Bears.
Bear down.
Bear down. Go Cubs. Bear down.
That's right. Go Cubs, bear down.
Yeah.
I knew that I had found my crew when Tom is telling me, like, I freaking love my wife and she loves you, and I really hope that you guys are going to be like amazing friends. And I was just like, you don't know how much I love her and how much I need her. And he goes, you do? He's like, you do? I was like, yes, I do. I'm just not trying to be cool, but just not trying to be too keen because I don't want to lose it. And he goes, you don't have to be like that. It's all good. Like, it's just, when you hear it from a man who loves his wife, it's a pretty good feeling.
And I mean, I love hearing you say that. I mean, I know how he feels, but even just hearing how other people can see it or feel it or hear it is just awesome.
Isn't it awesome? It's the best feeling in the world.
I'm a fan.
It really is. Yeah, I'm a fan too. I love my Tom.
Yeah.
But
definitely.
do you have guy friends? I mean, I have so many male friends. I can literally list them off.
Yeah.
I mean, one of my closest passed, as you know, but they all leave some point, don't they?
Yeah, I mean, but you have the memories with that person and, being able to be a big part of his life from a young age. I mean, you were a young age, but he was even younger of an
Yeah,
age. And
he
just to
was
have
14.
somebody special, yeah, and to be that mentor and to be that person and to be so close, like that's memories that you'll cherish. And,
Mm.
there's things that'll just keep popping up
I know,
that,
like when you send me things, that's cool. I do
yeah,
like
and,
that actually. And sometimes things pop up on Instagram, and I haven't even said his name, but I've thought
yeah.
about him, and I'm wondering now, like, is he
Is it?
communicating through like, I know that sounds crazy,
No,
but
it's not. But he knows that that's a source for you.
yeah, but we
Yeah.
always talked about that when he was actually in his physical body. I said, I always want you to send me music. I always want you to make sure that you know, like, I know it's you, like signs, like exactly how I taught him about signs because of my dad. And he said, I promise you, I will. And you'll be the first person. And I was. I mean, people might not believe it, but I've never shared that with anyone other than you. But he came to me and exactly how we had planned it. And he does play songs on the radio. A song will come up on the radio.
People from beyond that
Yeah.
still are able to communicate, like a whole episode.
We could actually bring on Laura Lynn Jackson, who wrote the book Signs. We should get her on because she is incredible. She has literally changed my life. And I've gifted her book maybe 35 times to people who have lost people or are grieving or, and I really feel like I've really built this beautiful family over, a number of years now. And I feel like the missing part was women my age, that I could love, support and nurture and help them with their kids and, all of those things. And it's now finally coming true. I guess I'm now ready, or maybe I'm in a position in my life where I'm mentally and spiritually a good friend. Maybe I wasn't a good friend before and I was deluded. Or delusional. I don't know what the word is.
Either is fine. So one of the other kind of things that I think about when I think about friends that can happen kind of instant is friends in professional settings. So, my background going into companies and, having a team, meeting people, having peers, etc. Yours on different shoots and things like that. And there's also the connection that happens right away at those settings. I know I've had a company that I worked for, and I went into that job and there was two people who were thick as thieves. I mean, they were so close. And you could tell immediately. And so it was kind of like the situation with me and Jen, and then enter you, and it just worked. And so with these two people, so shout out to Andy and Alex, to you too, for allowing me in to our trifecta. And, we went through a lot together, and we just had that instant connection, and we're regularly in contact, even, quite some time later. And, other people, you talk about male friends. I've got a friend, Josh, JJB, what's up? Who, he came in to a company that I worked for, and again, just an instant connection. And there's nothing, it was truly platonic. He's married. His wife, Chrissy, is great. I'm obviously married. My husband's super great. But we just connected, clicked. We could joke with each other. We could, give each other a hard time. If somebody was doing something, like, what is wrong with you? Like, you're gross. Stop it. We could really just talk and be natural that way. So I think about a lot of times in the workplace, when you spend so much time with somebody or you see them multiple times, you just have that connection with people. So, and I'm sure you've experienced that too over
100%. 100%. Do you think that is because we have a memory of a previous soul connection with that person? Because I do.
Yeah, I don't know. See, I that has never entered my mind until we really started talking more. And, it's not that I didn't believe or didn't think that was possible, but it just never entered my mind. It was never in front of me. And so, when you think about that, it's like, okay, maybe we were connected in, another way, another life, something like that. I don't know. I'm still learning about that.
Yeah. Well, I 100% believe that to be true. I also feel that a lot of the people that are sent into your life that maybe trigger you, or there's something about them that annoys you, or, they're still in your sort of group of people, yet they're just, they tolerate you. But then you also feel bad because you're just like, if I'm that much of a disappointment to you as a friend, then, why are you struggling so hard to be my friend? If I disappoint you that much, you know what I mean?
Definitely. And why are we going through this? We shouldn't have to work so hard to
and I've been going through that too. That was in 2024 as well. But also, aren't we at a point now where you're old enough and mature enough, I believe, to have that conversation with me? I've got to a point in my life now where I'm so freaking exhausted by this that you just rip the Band-Aid, dude. Rip the freaking Band-Aid and let us both heal. Yeah. And you know what? Maybe I should be the better person and reach out to that person and say, do you want, shall we have a talk about this? Do you want to talk it out? Should we hug it out? Like, but why should I always be the one that has to do that?
I know that's a lot of times how I feel too. And, people are busy and they have a lot going on, but at the same time, so do you, so do I. And it shouldn't necessarily have to sit on your shoulders or my shoulders to make these things happen or work.
And I always make time for people, And I will go out of my way to be like, are you doing okay? Yeah, to be the person that always reaches out and says, are you okay? Are you doing okay?
That's good. And I feel like the maturity factor that you were talking about is being able to wish them well and wish the best for them.
Yeah.
Despite whatever the case may be. And I feel like that's kind of we talk about a takeaway from each of our episodes. I think that the takeaway is to be open to, like, if you find somebody, be open, if they're different than you, if you do feel that spark, but they're busy, like, try, and if they reciprocate, that's great. That's what you want. But just be open to those relationships. And if you're in a tough stage, they were probably put there in front of you for a reason.
They're a mirror.
Open. They're a mirror. Yes, exactly.
Yeah.
And, don't be afraid to be vulnerable with people. And that's how great friendships are made. You're open, you allow them in, and then you are able to relate and just be open and honest.
I feel like some of my greatest challenges and greatest friendships that may have ended or turned in a different way, I feel like those greatest sufferings and hurts have actually been some of the most profound, groundbreaking, life-changing, evolving situations. I mean, I've grown so much over the last year as a human.
Definitely.
I've grown so much. Yeah. And it's been fucking painful. But through pain comes growth.
Absolutely. Yeah. And I just feel like, you think back through your life and you had people you were really close with, and it wasn't that there was like a ghosting or that there's a breakup or anything like that, but people kind of come and go as we go through different stages of our lives. And I just truly believe that they're put there for a reason, and you just celebrate them in that moment and know that it may not last forever. A 25-year friendship isn't something that's super common. I'm so fortunate to, where I live. I have an amazing group of women who are in the same kind of age stage, life stage, kids age, things like that. And most of us are professional women. Not everybody is, but we just can get together and lift each other up. We've had people come and go from the group over time. We've had divorces, we've had people move, we've had all sorts of things, but at the end of the day, everyone is welcome, and we don't get together all that often, but when we do, it's therapeutic, I feel like.
It sounds like sticky glue. It sounds like sticky glue. You know how it like just goes really, really, really long, but then comes back together.
Yes. Yeah. Exactly.
That's nice. I like that.
Busy, but we respect each other and we enjoy seeing each other, even if it's twice, maybe 3 times a year.
But that's also, that shows commitment and dedication to a friendship as well, like an understanding that, maybe we can't make it.
Yes.
Oh gosh.
So I think, friends are a crucial part of our life, our existence. But, I think you said it best. You have to be friends with yourself first. And that's
you
kind
have
of
to
the
like
key.
Yourself first, for sure.
Yeah. Yes, definitely. And that takes practice, to be honest.
Oh my God. It really does.
So much practice. And so if you're sitting here and you're listening and you're like, I don't even like myself at this point, you know what? We all go through that. And I will tell you, spoiler alert, you are amazing just the way you are. There's only one of you. There's only one of you. There's only one of me. There's only one of each and every one of us. It's not possible for us to be the same. I just heard somebody say that today. It is not.
Even twins, right?
Yes, it's not possible for them to be the same, to have the same experiences, to have the same thoughts. They are different, and they are put here for a reason. So if you're still working on liking yourself, stay tuned to this podcast.
Exactly, because that's what we're doing. We're just trying to be the best version every day and be better than we were yesterday and be in competition with no one else but ourselves.
Right. And challenge ourselves for new things and new thoughts and new practices and, just how do we be the best version of ourselves? And we want you, our audience, to be the best version of yourself too. So stick with us. The Wellness Podcast, our new adventure, the Hidden Jen, and she'll be on. We're going to have her on.
Yeah,
I feel like at this point, people are going to be like, why didn't you have her on this episode?
I know, exactly.
Why didn't we? What were we thinking? We're talking about her, singing her praises, and we're like, we're just going to send you the episode. No,
but you know what?
We'll have her on.
We'll have celebratory, find the Hidden Jen merch for when she does eventually come on the podcast.
That's right. Yeah, there's a lot of things that we will get into with her. She is really good on kind of the school-age children, being a parent of school-age children, interior design. Like, she's dynamic.
Yeah.
She really is. But this is our At First Sight, our friends episode. I honestly feel like we can get into so much more. I feel like we may have kind of a repeat friend episode. We can talk about a little bit more of the friends that we meet maybe at work, or friends that we're forced to be friends with that maybe we wouldn't have chosen. There's just so much more on the friend side of things that we can get into. So I think we're going to talk more about it. But for today, don't forget to like us,
and
comment, subscribe, rate us, all of the things for
and comments.
Podcast. Yes,
we want comments.
And we want to know your friend experiences. Did you have a friend at first sight? Did you have a forced friend? I want to hear your experiences. You want to hear their experiences. And you know what? Maybe that is how we'll craft our next episode about friends.
I also want to know one thing. So when you first met Jen and you weren't sure, was that because your energy or her energy were different? Or because you had heard things, or what was it? Was it an energy feeling of like, or was it listening to someone else's comments? Or
I never heard anybody speak ill of her.
So then it must have been an intuitive thing. So was it because you guys weren't ready at that point until you met again in the college and you were almost put together for the second time, because I believe God was like, first time,
Yeah.
I mean, do I have to bash their heads together?
Right.
And then the second time was like, okay, now we're going to push them a bit more together now. Let's see what happens now.
Yeah.
Like, I wonder how, because you said, oh, you were very surprised. So how was it different? You know what I mean?
Yeah. I mean, I had never spoken to her, at least not that I recall. And we were never, like, we might have been at the same fraternity party or something like that, or sorority event, but maybe we didn't talk to each other. So we were just kind of peripherally around. And I just was like, like, whatever. I have enough friends. Like, I don't need to seek her, you know, like there was, and it was like, there was never ill or like bad, but I just didn't think she seemed nice. And I was very wrong. And she's actually one of the most selfless people.
She's so kind.
She's one of the kindest people.
Yeah.
And she's, I mean, I can go on for miles on just how great she is. And just, I'm like, how did I miss out on 2 more years of that? Yeah. Honestly.
Maybe you weren't ready. Maybe neither of you were ready.
I know. And truly, we've been through a lot together. I know.